Founder and CEO of Entrepreneur by Design, Wendy Fedoruk has built a business helping her fellow entrepreneurs succeed. Between 70% and some studies say over 90% of small businesses fail. But Wendy believes this failure rate could be greatly reduced because solopreneurs make the same mistakes. Wendy joins us on Biz 101 today to talk with us about how she helps small businesses of all types and the 4 mistakes most solopreneurs make. Hey Wendy, what's a solopreneur?
Hi. A solopreneur is basically an entrepreneur that mostly works alone. And I also like to call solopreneurs are very often first generation entrepreneurs. And that is entrepreneurs who are the first time of their lines of family to be doing all this crazy entrepreneur stuff that we like to do. So they're first timers.
So I've been an entrepreneur most of my 40-some years in my adult life. And I've had a couple of periods where I had a quote-unquote job. And what I have found is that most people in a job wish they were entrepreneurs, or they kind of, the grass looks greener.
Yes.
And I think most entrepreneurs are happy to be entrepreneurs, but I can tell you, man, when I took a job after building a business, selling out, and I just went to work every day, they're two totally different worlds.
They are.
So for you, what's your own story about how you got to being I guess you're a solopreneur yourself.
I am, that's correct. So my story started with real estate investing, actually. I invested in the United States, mostly Phoenix, Arizona, during the crash that we've seen in the US. I am a Canadian, so it was not normal. I didn't know anybody else who was investing in the United States during the crash because most Canadians were too afraid to do so. But I jumped in because I seen cash flow, really good cash flow compared to what I could get in Calgary, and definitely based on depreciation and equity growth.
So were you dabbling in real estate investing in Calgary, your hometown, before the crash?
Yes, so I did have a few units in Calgary and sold those at the peak because Calgary actually peaked out just before the U.S. market crashed. So we did have some equity that we could put into property into the United States, and I invested in Cleveland as well as mostly Phoenix.
And so you're a mom, family gal, and what's your history before that? Like before
in real estate investing?
Or even before becoming married and a mom?
Yeah. So at the very beginning, I was in travel planning and event planning for travel conferences, and I did that for a few years, and then I became a mom. And I also had some business courses in my travel and tourism course, so I had a little bit of mix of everything, and always knew that there was a little bit of business in there. And because I did not want to get a job outside of the family, I wanted to stay home with my kids. So I looked for something that I could do from a home office, and real estate investing just landed on my plate one day, really. And then I just thought I'm going to make this into a business. And it was really easy to invest in the United States during those years. Short sales were happening, so I was actually being able to go directly to the banks and getting tapes of property, taking them right off the bank. So not even no real estate agents were involved and whatnot. They were just, the banks were like, take these, please. And then I could flip those properties. So of course at the beginning, I flipped them and renovated them for myself and built teams down there. So real estate agents, trades workers, property managers, and then the relationships with the banks. And after doing it for myself multiple times, I realized there's an opportunity here to help other Canadians get in on this market and very safely. Because I also needed to know all of the tax implications, all of the legal implications that come along with buying property in an entirely different country. So then I started a consulting business. It just came about, and it was very niche at the time. There was nobody else doing it. I was very fortunate. I got interviews with the Globe and Mail and other large newspapers. They just found me and called me, which is doesn't happen anymore these days, or very rarely. And so the business grew very quickly. I had a lot of clients, and I was also able to flip properties to them. So they paid me a consulting fee, and then I also got the property at a discount for them, so less than they would have paid on the regular market.
So isn't it interesting, Wendy, that the crash that affected so many people in North America, around the world, and was so horrible in a lot of ways, turned out to be an opportunity for you?
That is very true, and it's hard to believe, isn't it? And at the very beginning, it was hard because the homes were really trashed, because people were angry and they were hurt. But over time, once a lot of the Americans realized this is happening to everybody, it's not just me, then the homes weren't quite so damaged. So it was quite an experience emotionally, not even just the business side of it.
So we're taping this segment in Phoenix, Arizona, actually
Right.
Chandler,
Yes.
Arizona. And so how did the people here feel about these Canadians that came and bought up all their properties?
Believe it or not, they were happy. They honestly did feel like we were helping them out. We were helping the market. We were absorbing some of this property. They knew that we would be selling it back, which pretty much everybody that I helped buy property down here have sold their properties. They've made profit, and they're moving the money back to Canada. And they've paid taxes down here to the IRS on it, so there's been benefit that way. And really, I found no hostility whatsoever. Just love, really. Like, thanks for buying some of these properties.
Yeah, so now the market's shifted, and it's time for Wendy to do something new.
Exactly.
Entrepreneur by design.
Yes. So when, as you say, things shifted, the market shifted, house prices went up, the Canadian dollar went down, the opportunity basically went away. But what I realized from that experience was that I loved to consult. And to mention, I did have an e-commerce store for a short while in between there, but that didn't work for me because there was no people involved, really. It was me and this online store, right? So I learned a lot about digital marketing and online marketing during that experience, but I quickly sold it and then decided, now what's next? And then it was, I have a lot of business experience here. I have experience as an entrepreneur, as a consultant. Where should I go with this? And business consulting just came out of the blue one day, and I was like, this is where I'm going to go. I got certified with the Canadian Coaches Federation, and I worked with a team of business coaches just to get my business coaching skills up to par. And then I was able to get a contract. So I'm an independent contracted consultant, and I got a contract with a large Canadian bank who I'm still with today, and I consult their small business clients for sales and marketing.
Oh, wow. So in other
Yes.
words, a bank the American banks were selling you their properties,
Yes.
and now the Canadian banks are
Yes.
shipping off their brand new entrepreneurs that they're very scared
Exactly.
they're going to lose their money with. So but I know the BDC, for example,
Yes.
a business development bank
Right.
in Canada, they have approved consultants that they have worked with business. So now
Exactly.
the main chartered banks are doing that?
Yes, a few of them are, but BDC is the main one.
I see. So, so you are dealing with mostly first-time entrepreneurs.
Correct.
And you can identify with them because that was you.
Exactly. They're startups or small businesses that are struggling. So a few of them have been in business for a few years, but they've realized they have forgot to learn a few things before they jumped into their business, which is what a lot of small business owners or solopreneurs, as I say, will do, because they come from a trade background or whatever their craft is, whatever their creative, whatever they do for work, basically, they say, I want to make this into a business and I want to work for myself. And instead of going to business school or taking sales and marketing courses, they jump right into the business and just think that they'll figure it out as they go. And there is actually way more technical knowledge and way more systems and processes that they need to get into place than they realize, and they can get in hot water, and especially in the sales and marketing.
So your company specializes in online sales funnels, as an example of
Right.
a technical term.
Right.
What's that?
Yes. So it's a type of lead generation. So all businesses need lead generation. There are multiple different types of ways you can bring in leads. The online sales funnels are basically, they're kind of new to the market in that everybody needs them now. They've been there for a long time, but it was mostly just online e-commerce that needed them, or your gurus that you see selling products online. But now even small businesses and retail stores need some funnels, some of the basic funnels. And what a funnel is, I'm just going to give you, because there's multiple funnels, but one example is an email opt-in funnel. So that is where a person would create something for free, something valuable, some of your knowledge. You can make it into an ebook or just into a guide, and then that you offer that for free online in exchange for an email address. And then that goes to a landing page, and the person gets their free item, and they have opted in to be on the email list. So it's not like you're going to then be spamming them, because they've said, we want to hear from you, we want your free item, and then they're on your email list. And that is actually just a very simple example of a sales funnel.
So you're a online primarily sales and marketing expert?
Well, I'm both offline and online. So I can't say I'm an online expert, because that is a very, very technical area. With, like, when you're doing Facebook ads, you got to know Facebook inside and out. If you're doing AdWord, like Google AdWord ads, you got to know that inside and out. And you also have to be able to hook together all the technology. So, you know, you have to hook it up to the ad and then hook it to your email or hook it to your website. So there's a lot of tech in that. I just know the basics of all the different types of marketing that small businesses can do. And then we go through it all and figure out what's best for their business.
And so you're really teaching them how to fish, so to speak, instead of giving them fish.
Exactly. That's exactly what I do. I teach them. I don't do it for them. I teach them how to do it.
And and now I see that you're developing your own sort of online, even video presence. As a matter of fact, that's how I found you.
Yeah.
Is all of a sudden there's Wendy in front of her phone talking to me over LinkedIn.
Right. Yes.
And so talk to me about the importance today for any type of business to, you know, start doing video online.
So the reason why video is so important is because it brings the authentic person, like that you see the person, you see the emotion, you get to know them very quickly, because the whole marketing and sales process involves, first of all, like just seeing it. I see it, now I like it, now I like this person, now I trust this person. So the know, like, trust factor with video happens so much quicker.
Right.
And when other people are doing it on video, you're kind of getting lost if you don't do it on video. So it's simply to just fast track the sales process and to make it so you're not necessarily having to sit right beside somebody to get to know them.
So Wendy, apparently you're going to tell me the 4 things that businesses almost always get wrong.
Okay, so number 1, as we touched on a little bit, is just not getting the proper education. So jumping into a business too quick, not learning all of the 5 components of a small business, not learning exactly how to do sales and marketing, or learning enough about it so that they know how they can hire out and not waste their money.
Right.
The other one is wearing all the hats in the business. So many small business owners will try to do it all to save money and whatnot in the beginning, and they just can't do it, and they get overwhelmed, and they end up just saying, I've had enough. I would say the third one is getting stuck in your old ways. So if you've been in business for a while, just kind of being resistant to learning the new ways. And
things are changing.
They are, aren't they?
I've kind of noticed that. Ouch.
And they're changing so quickly, right? So you have to be on top of it all the time. And the fourth one would just be not testing and measuring. So if a company has got some systems in place, and often a lot of them won't even have systems in place, they won't have policies and procedures written up and things like that. So just not tracking and measuring and seeing that the efforts that they are making, if they're working or if they're not.
Wendy, entrepreneur by design. Entrepreneur my whole life. I learned a lot in this little segment.
Well,
Thank you
I'm
so much
glad
for
you
coming
did.
on Biz 101.
Thank you so much for having me. It was so much fun.
Yeah.